You've built a powerful life. You've led, you've served, you have succeeded at levels most women only dream of. But the reality is you might be running on fumes way more often than you'd like to admit. The reality is that many times as high achievers, we put ourselves last on the list, if at all, for self-care and for taking care of our own needs, because we're so busy taking care of everybody else's. Hi, I'm Jen Beck, and I'm the founder of Complete Health Revolution. And I know this to be true. I know I spent years living in that everything to everyone kind of energy, and it was exhausting. And eventually it burned me out. And I speak with so many women every single day that are in that verge of they've created a sacrifice or success, but there's a sacrifice to it. They're sacrificing their peace of mind, their energy, their vitality, their own needs and wants. And yes, they are so appreciated and acknowledged and have accolades for being everything to everyone, but they've lost themselves in the process. And if you can relate to that, today I'm speaking directly to you. Because what if the next level isn't about doing more, but it's about fueling better, fueling your body, fueling your mind, fueling your life, and really leading with energy first versus production, checking off the boxes and doing all of the things. And if you know what it's like to be everything to everyone and still be running on fumes, just put an F in the comments below. Let me know if you're with me on this, right? The more interactive you are, ask questions. Like, I'm here for your support, but I really appreciate the engagement and the comments, because it helps me to know who I'm talking to. Right? So if you're running on fumes way more than you would like, if you wish that you had more energy at the end of the day versus really running on fumes, like I said, just put an F in the comments below, because it's a reality, right? I spoke with two women already this morning, and one of them runs an insurance agency. The other one teaches people sales, and both of them were struggling with putting themselves first. They're both super high achievers and have built an incredible following, an incredible business, but at the same time aren't putting themselves on the to-do list, and they recognize it. But just because we recognize it doesn't necessarily mean that we are doing something about it, ladies, does it? Okay. So the reality is today I want to talk to you about how do we really optimize our energy? How do you lead with energy? And what if it's your secret weapon versus the thing that you just need to fill the bucket for, right? So often we're chasing caffeine or sugar or the next snack to be able to make it through the rest of our day. But I want you instead to imagine waking up and feeling energized and excited for your day, kind of like a kid on Christmas morning. And then you end your day with that same kind of energy. And you have bandwidth not just for all of your to-do lists, but to really be present with your kids, your partner, your family, your friends, the things that you are really wanting to put your energy into. I'm not saying you don't want to be successful in your career, but there is more to life than work. And yet sometimes we end up working, or at least thinking about work, 6 or 7 days a week, and we burn out as a result of it. So picture waking up and leading meetings and navigating all of the family pressures, all of the to-do lists, whether you're raising kids and taking care of aging parents, or if you're really just focused on leading your life. The reality is, in all of those areas, when we have energy, we show up so differently. We show up fully. We get to lead freely and live fully when we have energy. But if we don't, the people that we care about the most get the last of us, not the best of us. So there's really power in managing our energy like a CEO manages cash flow. You don't need more hustle, but you do need a more intentional energy strategy. Because when we lead with energy, our impact expands. It deepens our influence. And most importantly, it protects our peace and our well-being. So often we're working so hard to create this legacy, to create this impact in the world, to create a revenue, like to be able to create income. And we want to be able to retire with ease. But if we don't have our health by the time we retire or by the time we build that legacy, then what do we really have? And I bet if you asked any millionaire that doesn't have their health today, if they could choose one thing in their life, health would be at the top of their list. Because you can use money to be able to buy health to a certain extent, but it's more managing symptoms than it is really truly health. So, and I just want to pause for a second and say you're probably doing a lot of the right things. You are probably watching what you eat, and you're choosing to drink water, and you're choosing to at least attempt to get to bed before midnight, and you're doing a lot of the things. But the reality is the things that are ideal, the things that really move the needle, are not the things that we're taught in mainstream. We're taught slivers of pieces, but we're not taught the big picture. I was talking with somebody yesterday, and they were sharing with me how they started having some swelling in their ankles, and they are carrying weight around their midsection, and it feels like their body's turning on them. And nobody really has any answers. You know, she's crashing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She's constantly in the mental spin, and nobody has any answers. She's got 3 different doctors that she sees, but none of them are talking to each other, and none of them have knowledge in nutrition, and none of them are addressing the mental spin and the mental energy and decision fatigue that she's dealing with on a daily basis. So we started talking about just a couple of little things of what she could do. And, you know, we talked about hydration being one of the most important things for brain fog, for mid-afternoon fatigue, for energy, for weight management, and had no idea that water was so critical in those areas. And she was drinking some water, but she wasn't drinking as much as her body really needs. So it's not because you don't know the foundation. Part of it is because we don't prioritize our own selves. And so we end up at the bottom of the list versus the top of the list. And we're not taking care of ourselves. And so we deal with the 2 p.m. crashes and the cravings and the decision fatigue and all of that. And if you can relate to that, just put me in the comments. Like, this is so common for women, especially because we put so much effort into taking care of everybody else in our life. We prioritize the ones that we love with good reason, but it doesn't necessarily support our overall well-being. So really the solution is energy first leadership. It's not a matter of managing calories. It's not a matter of checking every to-do list or box on our to-do list. It's really leading from presence. It's leading with energy, and it's being able to respond, not just react. And there's three main components of this framework for energy first leadership. And it's based on reset, reclaim, and rise. So what is it? How does it break down? Well, reset is breaking the burnout cycles. It's resetting the cycle of how we live on a day-to-day basis. It's resetting the things that are zapping our energy, and zapping our energy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Because the reality is all 4 of those areas zap our energy, and it leads to sugar cravings and energy crashes and feeling resentful and like we're burning out. And so it's resetting that cycle. It's reclaiming. It's really saying yes to what fuels you. It's reclaiming your energy, your peace of mind, your mental clarity, your ability to be, not just do 24/7. And then rise is leading from alignment, not depletion. It's leading in a way that truly allows you to love the life that you're in and lead your team, your business, your family, and yourself with intention and presence, where we can go from the mental spin and overwhelm to ease and flow. And that's truly where we were designed to live. We were not designed to live constantly in the cycle of overwhelm and depletion and resentment and overgiving to the point of our own sacrifice. And if you would like just a short step into that peace of mind, go to CompleteHealthRevolution.com/powerpause. And I've got 17 recharging strategies for ambitious women that will help you to just start taking a step into the life that you were designed to live, which is leading from pause. There's power in a pause. And so often we are on fire getting everything done on a daily basis. We don't pause for anything. Okay. So there's 4 shifts to really start leading from energy though. The first one is to know why you're tired, right? It's not just stress. It could be blood sugar, inflammation, boundaries, dealing with other people's energy, people pleasing, all of those things, they zap our energy. When we're over committed to other people's success and happiness instead of just our own, like, and I'm not saying you don't love your family and don't support them and don't encourage them. I'm just saying you're not responsible for everything going right in their world. They get to have personal responsibility because it builds courage. It builds confidence. It builds empowerment for them when we walk beside them versus clearing the path before them. Okay. The second one, we've got to stop powering through and refueling before we burn out. It is not a badge of honor to go, oh, I worked really hard and then I crashed. Sometimes we wear it like a badge of honor. The reality is when we can lead from a place of presence and energy and vitality, we will lead so much more effectively and efficiently. And you get to enjoy your life and your health and have the success in your career and your life that you truly desire. Okay. Number 3 is to catch the hidden drains, right? Things like skipping meals, phone notifications. I will tell you, one of the best things I ever did was turn the notifications off on here. And I have it set up so 3 times a day, I get an update of all of the things that I've missed. So I'm now in control of my phone versus my phone being in control of me. And I have so much more peace of mind and focus. But sometimes it's the hidden drains that we're not even paying attention to because they've just become a part of our day. Things like, skipping our water and drinking coffee instead, or just not listening to our body because we're so busy doing our to-do list. And so whenever we're in that space, though, when we're dealing with these hidden drains, we become more reactive versus responsive. And so when we can start to identify that pattern of being reactive, it allows us to slow down and pause and choose to respond, not react. It saves our mental health, but it also saves our relationships too, right? And then the 4th one is we want to build micro habits. And I truly believe in focusing on one key habit, lock that into place, then start a new one. So we're building success on top of success on top of success, instead of trying to overhaul our entire life in one day. But it's focusing on really simple things. Taking a 10-minute walk after lunch. It's starting our day with protein. Little micro habits like vegetables first, or taking our screens and shutting them off at least a half an hour, if not an hour before we go to bed. So our body has a chance to wind down and we can rest versus it's stimulating our brain for an hour after we've gone to bed. So it's really like they're micro habits, but they have such a massive impact in them, massive impact for us in them. You know, a lot of times we try and do everything at one time, and we can do it for a while, but then we fall back and we fall off the wagon, or we quit, or we start over again on Monday, or whatever, however you want to say that. But we can't build consistent habits because we're trying to do too much at one time. But what if you took one focus per month, and over the course of the year, you created 12 new sustainable habits that improved your life and 10x your results? Would it be worth it? And if you agree with that, put yes in the comments, because it's not about doing everything at once, but it's doing the right things at the right time that will amplify our overall well-being, amplify our success, and truly help us to love the life that we're living versus just grinding through the days and getting through them. You know, if you think about, a lot of times we're pouring our energy into a bucket that has holes, right? Think about like a colander or one of those sand sieves when we're at the beach. If you pour water in there, it goes right out the other side. And sometimes that's where we put our energy. It's into the things that don't necessarily serve us, or we have so many holes in our life, those energy leaks, it just goes everywhere. But what if we start taking steps to be able to plug those holes, not plugging them with a Band-Aid, but truly identifying what they are and start creating life change in small, sustainable habits that will plug the holes. Things like going to bed at 10 or 11 o'clock at night versus midnight or 1. Doing things like taking a break in the middle of the day to take 5 deep breaths and just close your eyes and reset. What if it's doing a brain dump before you walk in the door to home so that you can be present with your family when you get there? Those are all little tiny ways that we can be able to plug the energy leaks and improve our life for ourselves and for our loved ones too. It's not, we don't need more hustle. You don't need more checking the boxes. You don't need more things to get done. A lot of times it's deciding what are the things that are really serving us and letting go of the rest. And I know that when you're in the midst of running a business or a team and doing all of the things for all of the people in your work life and your home life, and maybe even your parents, or all of the committees that you've signed up for, or maybe even chairperson of, when we can start being really strategic about where we spend our time and our energy, it allows us to have more peace, more joy, more light, and we lead differently and we live differently. And you deserve to have a life that you love and be able to lead in a way that supports, empowers, and inspires those around you. And I totally believe it to be true. I know it is because I used to live in the burnout mode of doing everything for everyone. And I'll never forget the day I was sitting in my therapist's office back in the day. And she's like, Jen, when's the last time you did anything for you? And I must have sat there for 2 or 3 minutes going, I don't know. I couldn't tell her the last time I did anything because I was so busy taking care of my daughter, making sure my husband was happy, making sure the house was running, making sure the house was clean, making sure a good healthy meal was on the table, making sure that my friends were okay, making sure that my parents were okay, like all of the things. And it was exhausting. And no one really got the best of me. And I really didn't have a whole lot of joy in my life. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but the resentment had started building. And I was no longer doing it joyfully. I was no longer doing it gladly. It was the things I was doing because I was supposed to, or I should be. And I got to a place where I was really unhappy and I had just put myself on a shelf. And it really took me pausing and going, what do I really want my life to look like and feel like and be like? And that stepping into that energy though, when you decide that, and you decide that you are worth it and you want it, the decision is the first step. From there, it's baby steps that move the needle. It might be starting your day with turning on music that you love. It might be finding a way to do something that's easier because it allows you to have more energy, more joy, and more fun in your life, which I will tell you that ripples into every other area of your life. When you enjoy your life, you lead way differently and you have such a different energy than if you're just dragging through the day. So know that it's more about alignment than it is hustle. It's more about presence than it is pressure. And you're already powerful. The key is to turn the dial up on the fun and vitality and living freely instead of living through that pressure. So I want you to think about this. Pick one shift that you can start doing today. And I'd love it if you drop it in the comments. What's one thing that you could do today that's going to add more fun, more vitality, more joy, more love, more energy to your day? What's one small shift that you can do mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually? But it's one shift. It's one thing that will add more energy and vitality to your day. Pick one and then do it. Do it every day for a week and just play. Just play with me. And at the end of the week, let me know how you feel differently. But I want you to track it every day so you have an awareness of, are you feeling more joy? Are you feeling more happy? Are you feeling more energetic? What are the pieces that you're noticing because you're starting to live fully? And watch how it shows up in your leadership where you are now leading freely and you are in a place where you're leading from authenticity, you're leading from energy, and you're leading from presence. So I would love to hear from you guys. So drop your one shift in the comments below. Shoot me a DM if this really resonates with you, or if you'd like some support in identifying what your next best shift is. I'm here for your success. You can shoot me a DM, or you can go to talkwithjenbeck.com. talkwithjenbeck.com. Schedule a 20-minute energy breakthrough session, and let's get you on the next step to you feeling free and energized so you can rise in your leadership and truly live a life that you love. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. I cannot wait to see you again next week. Have an amazing week and enjoy the 4th of July weekend. See ya.